This is chunk Yanille. I spent 1,000 hours completing every possible task in Yanille, but now I'm exploring the world one chunk at a time. Over the past 6 months, new chunks have brought new challenges, but I've overcome all of them, all except the death chunk. An area with grinds so bad it could kill the account. Every time I roll a random new chunk, there's a chance I'm gonna be trapped here forever. Hello and welcome back. It is a good day to be a one chunk man. I'm feeling so hyped after the crazy events of last episode, rolling my dream chunk, the place I wanted to go the most, Wizard's Tower, and getting both wildly unlucky and then lucky on some clue scrolls. I'm walking away with this sick amulet of magic and my first rune item, the rune medhelm. But with all the chunk tasks complete, you know what that means. It's time to roll a chunk. This is always such an exciting moment. I could get an amazing chunk like last time, or I could roll a terrible chunk with insanely long grinds. Really, anything could happen. Here's the chunk picker where we can see all the possible rollable chunks. In terms of chunks I want the most, there is one thing I forgot to mention about last episode. I also finished the grind with all of these clue scrolls on the ground. All of these beginner clues require a spade, an item I currently don't have. I have to keep juggling them every hour if I want to keep them, but the rewards from them could be so useful for the account. That is, if I can find a spade. So my top priority is rolling a chunk with a spade in it. Problem is, none of these chunks have spades. However, someone made this cool map of every chunk with a spade in it, so we want to roll in the direction of one of these ideally. In terms of the chunks I don't want, well, there's one massive, glaring, flaming, burning, sorry, there's a death chunk. Death chunks are bad. What a death chunk is exactly is somewhat subjective, but 300 hours of the worst minigame in Runescape definitely counts as death as far as I'm concerned. And that's exactly what this chunk, Port Hazard, holds. An astronomical task of 81 fishing and 91 cooking to cook a manta ray. If you've never played the fishing trawler minigame, you might not be familiar with its infamy, but let's just say it's got some problems. I'm honestly hoping to just avoid it for as long as possible. But with that out of the way, let's jump into the chunk roll. Let's do this. Oh, let's do this. Oh man, every time, it's crazy. All right, pick chunk, show me the chunk. Oh, come on. What do we get? No, dude. I've been talking about it this whole time. Port Hazard, we rolled the death chunk. I mean, I could only avoid it for so long, but also it's only been available for 2 rolls. So like, oh man, that is really unfortunate. That is really unfortunate. It happened. It finally happened. I've been worried about this moment ever since I left Yanille 6 months ago. 6 months of exploring the world one chunk at a time, and now this, the death chunk. Fishing trawler represents the longest grind I have ever had to take on in the history of this account. Hundreds of hours at one of the most miserable pieces of content in the game. I want to dive into exactly what makes this chunk so bad, but maybe there's a silver lining. Let's at least take a look around first. Here we are, the border of a chunk that I have feared for a long time. Let's do this. Let's unlock the chunk. The Port Hazard chunk is officially unlocked. There it is. Oh, look at her. So what is here? Lots of rocks to mine. So that's mining unlocked. Planks, okay, that's cool. Another anvil kind of close to a bank. There's this general store. Now, if only the general store sold a spade, but it doesn't. Hidden spade spawn inside these crates? To be fair, last time I got exactly what I wanted, so this time getting exactly what I didn't want feels kind of fair. Oh, I have a rope now. Wait, does that change everything? No, it does not change everything, but it is the next piece of the puzzle in completing the Watchtower quest, which is one of my big goals on the account. And perhaps more importantly, it's a chunk task. speaking of which, we just rolled a death chunk, so we gotta talk about the tasks here. Port Hazard has 3 main things: the town itself, the mine outside of town, and, of course, the fishing trawler. Let's walk through these. The town has a handful of buildings, the general store, and this guy, Tyndall Marchant, who runs the Antiques Boutique. From this, we get these chunk tasks. 1. Use this rope to progress the Watchtower quest. And 2. An easy diary task to have Tyndall Marchant identify a rusty sword, which is one of the junk items you can get from fishing trawler. The mine outside of town contains rocks copper through mithril. This creates these chunk tasks: 55 mining to mine mithril, 68 smithing to smith a mithril plate body for this hard diary task, and 59 fletching to create a myth grapple and grapple over Yanille's south wall, which is a medium diary task. And last, the fishing trawler. Its rewards scale from the lowest level fish all the way up to manta rays at level 81 fishing. It also has the angler equipment set. Here are the fishing trawler tasks. An easy diary task to go out on the fishing trawler once. Acquire the full angler set, completing the fishing trawler collection log. And 81 fishing and 91 cooking to catch and cook a manta ray. This task alone is what makes this a death chunk. It stands head and shoulders above the rest. 81 fishing and 91 cooking is a combined 8 million XP between the two skills, with my only way to train fishing being the fishing trawler itself. The exact math is hard to know, but this should take around 3,000 games of fishing trawler. At peak efficiency, you can complete around 10 trawlers an hour, as each game is exactly 5 minutes long with a 1-minute waiting period before each game. And then there's the cooking. Nearly 6 million experience of it. I have no idea how long that will take, but together this chunk could easily be over 500 hours of grinding for this one chunk task. That said, there are also some easy tasks, so let's quickly go knock those out just to feel something right after this break. Life is like one big chunk, full of tasks. You want to complete them, but you also know bigger tasks are coming up, so you have to make sure you're saving resources. Resources like money. Well, today's sponsor, Rocket Money, is here to help. Rocket Money is the personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower bills, and manage your money better. Here's a fun money fact. One way to have more money is to spend less money. And you know what I've been spending too much money on? Subscriptions. Once I started using Rocket Money, I could see all of my subscriptions, how much they are, and when they're gonna renew. And let me tell you, there was some stuff I totally forgot I was paying for. But the coolest part about Rocket Money is that they literally helped me cancel my subscriptions with just a few clicks. Going back to the chunk metaphor, which is a great metaphor and totally not forced at all, by the way. To be a great chunk man, you have to look into the future and plan ahead. And Rocket Money's got you there too. They'll analyze your spending habits and create a custom budget for you that works with your lifestyle. Student loans? Rocket Money can help you budget that. Need 2 million fishing XP? Well, that's actually more of a me problem, but you get the point. Here's another fun money fact. Rocket Money has helped save its members up to $740 a year when they use all the features, with over 500 million in canceled subscriptions. To save more and spend less, join the over 5 million members using Rocket Money today. Stop wasting money and start living like a chunk man. Go to rocketmoney.com/Josh or click the link in the description to get started for free. You can also unlock even more features with premium. That's rocketmoney.com/Josh to get started for free. Anyway, now that we know what the chunk tasks are, let's go do some of them. Something I've been wanting to do for a very long time is swing across to this island. Woohoo! Finally, I pick up jangerberries like I was gonna say like a normal person, but normal people don't pick up jangerberries. Now, one of the chunk tasks is to progress the Watchtower quest. I can do this by talking to Gru here. He wants me to go find Gorad. Now, Gorad is in my chunks, he's in this chunk, but I can't actually get to that chunk without this chunk. So, unfortunately, that's all the progress I can make right now. But that is a chunk task complete. All right, what's next on the list? Oh, you know what? Why don't we play some freaking fishing trawler? What do I need for this? I haven't played this in a long time. Bailing bucket, yeah. Do I need more than one or just one? I need swamp paste, right? Or do I not need that? Costs 42 coins? What? Wait, that's so expensive. All right, ship will leave in 50 seconds. Let's do this, Murphy. I walk on. I forgot how this works. I did this on Leagues and haven't done it much since then. So let's see how this goes. Oh yeah, there's an easy task. All right. Chunk task complete. Oh, this freaking waving. You can turn that off, right? Yeah, turn that off. Oh, by the way, if we fail, I leave my chunk, so don't do that. Net. Oh, fix the net. 2 fish, let's go. You guys seem like you're having trouble down there. I think it seems like you might need some help with the whole leak filling thing. I'm bailing so hard, you guys. You need to fix those holes faster. Who made this game, dude? How is this real? How am I actually here? 5 crafting XP, let's go. Oh my God, guys, we need more people. Bail the water. No, we're gonna sink. I'm teleporting to Castle Wars. I don't know what no! Can I log out? What happens then? Oh, did we
Did we survive? Oh my god, that was too close for comfort, dude. Well, that was thrilling. This is a lot to take in, you guys. I think I'm gonna sign off here and ponder my life choices. I'm about to spend the next 2 months of my life on a virtual boat. What did I do to deserve this? Why does Port Caswood smell so bad? Alright, enough of that. This is the part where, if you're not so familiar with Fishing Trawler and its reputation, you learn why it's one of the most hated pieces of content in the game. Let me start off by playing you a clip from the very first episode of this series. If you know anything about me, you know that Old and Janky are my numerous middle names. That was me over a year ago, but Fishing Trawler raises a deep philosophical question. Can something be too old and janky? Because if that's possible, Fishing Trawler is that thing. It's beyond broken. The ship is a metaphor for the content itself, which is barely scraping along, taking on water with every line of spaghetti code, broken click box, and dysfunctional mechanic. We begin our exploration of the nightmare that is Fishing Trawler with our very first fun Fishing Trawler fact. Did you know that Fishing Trawler was actually in RuneScape Classic? In fact, it's the first ever skilling minigame, and really the first ever true minigame in the sense that we have minigames these days, like Pest Control, Castle Wars, or Guardians of the Rift. It takes place in its own unique area, has a set duration, and gives rewards based on your performance. It's actually possible that we owe much of modern minigame design to Fishing Trawler, though even in Classic it had its issues. I love this line on the RuneScape Classic wiki, quote, "Warning, the Fishing Trawler is very prone to bugs and glitches and sometimes may be considered completely unplayable / broken. It is riddled with bugs. I mean, just look at this list of incredibly problematic glitches. You know it's bad when you have so many bugs, you have to start giving them funny names." Back to OSRS though, thankfully our situation is better. Slightly. The wiki page for the Fishing Trawler has some of the funniest and most ridiculous looking charts of any minigame. Like, we don't know how much XP shrimps give. We just don't know. Alright, before I go any further, I need to bring everyone up to speed, make sure we're all on the same page about what exactly you're supposed to be doing in this godforsaken minigame. You may have picked up on some of this from the chaotic game you just saw, but the point of the game is to go out on this boat, not have it sink for 5 minutes, and at the end, you get some fish. Trawling is actually a real thing for you non-fishermen out there, where you drag a net behind a boat to catch fish. That is to say, there's no actual fishing involved in this minigame whatsoever. You just so happen to be going trawling on the worst boat ever constructed in the history of boats. It's constantly leaking, so you need to fill the holes in the wall with swamp paste. And then you need to bail the water out of the boat with bailing buckets. If it wasn't bad enough to be on a boat made of Swiss cheese, you'll find that you're also being regularly attacked by a giant tentacled sea monster, which is actually a lot less threatening than the holes, but we'll get back to that. Chop it with an axe, repair the rail with a hammer, and fix the net with a rope. That last part is the most important as you can't catch any fish if the net is ripped. Those are the basic mechanics, and each of them give you some amount of XP and some contribution. Contribution is tracked in this meter up here. If you're in the red, you don't get any fish. 50 contribution points are required to get out of the red, and in theory, the more you get, the better the rewards, but contribution points are still a bit of a mystery right now. More research is required. But hold up, it doesn't matter how much contribution you get if the boat sinks, so you need to keep track of this water meter. If it reaches full, the boat sinks and you have to swim to shore in another chunk. Yep, if I fail, I leave my chunk, so hopefully that doesn't happen. Water gets in through the holes and you have to bail to get rid of it, which can be kind of hard to find time to do when there's so many holes. Let's talk about rewards. First, there are some very generous XP drops from doing actions on the boat. Check it out, 5 whole XP for repairing the net or chopping the Kraken's tentacle. Oh, and by the way, I can't even get construction XP from this because I don't have a house. So, yeah. The main reason anyone actually plays this minigame is for the angler's outfit. There are 4 pieces, and when all of them are worn together, they give a nice 2.5% boost to fishing XP. There's a 1 in 12 chance, or about 8%, to find a piece of angler when you search the net after finishing a game. Fun Fishing Trawler fact number 2, you'll never get a duplicate piece of angler until you've completed the full set, and after that you'll only ever get 1 more full set. I see this as a gentle suggestion to stop playing Fishing Trawler after 2 full sets, as continuing may negatively affect your health. If you experience a Fishing Trawler grind lasting longer than 6 hours, most doctors recommend subscribing to Josh Isn't Gaming. But the main reward I'm focused on is the fish. Every game you complete, you get some fish. What fish, you might ask? Well, it's simple. Just look at this handy chart. That clears things up, right? What's that? It only makes it way more confusing? Well, of course it does. This is Fishing Trawler. The main thing to take away from this is that as you level up, you get better and better fish.
in theory. In reality, the XP you get from fishing here is abysmal, way less than you would from fishing these same fish normally. And with every game being exactly 5 minutes, well, there's not really a way to speed this up. As for what makes the gameplay itself so unbearable, well, I'll let that become evident as we play. For now, let's get back to real-time Josh. Well, it's been a little while since the stream, and I've had some time to think things over. A lot of emotions have been going through my head since finding out I'm stuck in the fishing trawler chunk, but there's really only one thing to be done. We get to it. This chunk will not stop me. I've done some crazy grinds in the past, and I'll do it again. And besides, not everything about this chunk is bad. I've had some time to explore the area on my own, and I thought I might just walk you through the things that are here. Aside from the scary stuff, there is a lot of cool stuff. Get access to a brand new shop with some brand new items. We already used the rope to progress the watchtower quest, but seeing in here the swamp paste, a bucket pack, pots of flour, a lot of things in here could come in very handy in the future. It's nice to have access to something like this. And of course, another anvil, although we already have a pretty nice anvil. There's also some plank spawns. Not sure if or when we'll use those, but always good to have free items. New item unlocked. A new bank chest, a new bank deposit chest, and of course the charter ship. The store is full of all kinds of stuff. Obviously, later on, once I get a furnace, I'll have access to a very good crafting method. Let's pick up a couple of items from here. Definitely the eye patch. 5 coins, I will happily pay that. I think this is going to be part of my fishing trawler look for sure. And of course the Tyrus helm. Look at this thing. Wow, what a vibe. Honestly, very, very sick. And this store just has a lot of options for me. Pineapples, bananas, oranges. So yeah, a lot of interesting options opened up from this. Of course, Mr. Tyndall Marchant, or whatever. This guy is going to complete a task for me once I get a rusty sword. And Murphy, the fishing trawler man himself. Going to be seeing a lot of this guy in the next, well, long time. So I believe one important thing that's going to be key to my ability to do fishing trawler efficiently, or at least efficiently for me, is lots of ropes. These give me crafting XP, which will be useful, and the more that the net is repaired, the more fishing XP that I get. And we want lots and lots of fishing XP, and of course lots and lots of fish for cooking. So I think it's time that we stock up on some ropes and I guess play some fishing trawler. So I think that this is going to be my setup for fishing trawler. I don't know for sure. This might be a little preemptive, but hammer, axe, and lots of ropes to keep on fixing the net. I want to see how many contribution points I can get with this setup. Oh, and one more thing. Unfortunately, in this new chunk, I'm having to face a lot of hard decisions, and as you can see, my clue juggling timer is now ticking down under a minute. I've been juggling these clues for the last 2 months, and it's finally time to say goodbye. I simply can't do it. There's no way for me to get a spade, so it's been a pleasure, lads, but goodbye. Let's give these soldiers a proper farewell. And there they go. No longer will I be juggling my clues every hour, always worried about them despawning. I can do fishing trawler in peace. Pour one out for those clue scrolls today. Of course, I did keep one of each, my Port Khazard step and one of the beginner clues. I'd like to think that this is the first one, although there's no way for me to tell, but I'd like to think that this one has been with me for quite a long time. But we are setting these aside, and it's time to jump into some fishing trawler. Let's do this. All right, here we are on the fishing trawler world. Man, look at all of those people. Let's hop on the ship for the first time and see how this works. Here we go, rolling out to sea. So my understanding is that we stand here. Seems like the net is occasionally ripping, which I would like to prevent. Chopping the kraken and fixing the rail. This is the basic gameplay of fishing trawler. Not a whole lot to it. All right, first game complete. Let's see what we get from the rewards. Big moment. Let's check that net. Yeah, 564 fishing XP, 28 fishing. This is interesting. We will have to check in and talk about the rates in a little bit. All right, that game I got a lot less contribution and thus a decent bit less fishing XP, so we're gonna try to maximize contribution here.
Get those logs lit, navigator. We need to see.
Then bring your logs and lighters.
You've been saying that for the last 2 hours.
Would just like my hat and legs, please.
Maybe you need to suck Kraken to get the angler.
Oh my lord, guys.
This place is awesome. All right, that was a pretty solid, almost more than double my contribution from last game. Let's see. We already have an angler item. Wow, angler hat. No way. Oh, so much for the eye patch. Look at that absolute beast. Oh, I need level 34 fishing to wear it. Oh, that's hilarious. All right, wow, huge. First piece already. Oh my goodness, back-to-back angler. Wow, I didn't think it would go this fast. Oh my God, I got like no fishing XP that time, wow. But 29 fishing is already here.
I've done a good handful of games already, but I'm still not totally sure how best to maximize my XP per hour here. So far, I've gotten anywhere from 200 to 500 XP from a game, which is horrible, by the way, and I'm not totally sure if I get how this works exactly. If I'm gonna commit to this multi-month-long grind, I need to make it my mission to understand everything there is to possibly know about Fishing Trawler. That's why I've created the Base of Accumulated Trawler Information, or BOTI for short. So far, just from reading the wiki, we know a few things, so let's add those to the boat. 1. While the net is ripped, it won't catch any fish, so the faster we fix that, the better. 2. We need to get above 50 contribution to get anything, and this is how many contribution points we get per action. Chopping the Kraken and fixing the rail give the most, and don't cost any resources, so I'll prioritize those. 3. Success at chopping the Kraken, and most likely at fixing the net, scales with your level in their respective skill. Crafting for the net, and wood cutting for the Kraken? It's Fishing Trawler, just don't ask questions. Point is, if I can level up those skills, I might have an easier time getting contribution. Lastly, there's this little bit right here that sounds important. Having a full contribution bar at the end of the game yields 50% more fish. We should definitely investigate that, but I haven't really acknowledged my biggest barrier to contribution points: money. It's easy to max contribution using Swamp Paste, but I'll run out of money before I even get a fraction of the way through my grind if I use Swamp Paste every game. It's so expensive. So we're gonna have to find another way to max my contribution. I'll keep adding to the BOTI as discoveries are made, but for now, I have an idea that I think might be a huge step forward.
I brought along a friend to try to help me out with this and see if together I can increase my points per hour. He's just gonna do all of the Swamp Paste fixing, and I'm gonna do all of the top deck fixing. We'll see if this works.
12 seconds later.
That did not work, and that means, unfortunately, we're leaving the chunk. This is not the best. That did not work very well. And unfortunately, here we are, outside of the chunk. That was bad. That did not work. Not one bit. Well, back to the drawing board.
So far, I haven't been able to come up with a better idea than just playing on Mass Worlds, but
there's level 30 fishing. That is beautiful. 4 levels off getting to actually wear my angler pieces. I'm starting to get a feel for how to do this. I think I want to mainly focus on chopping the tentacles and repairing the net. Those net repairs will get me tiny bits of crafting XP, which over time will make it easier to repair the net as my crafting level goes up. Oh yeah, 11 crafting. That is a level already. Love to see those 5 XP drops. There's a pretty cool milestone coming up eventually with that. We'll see if we get there this episode. 31 fishing. These are all very exciting at this level. Hey, there's a wood cutting level as well. 56 wood cutting. Very nice.
So since the success of chopping the Kraken tentacle scales with wood cutting and axe, I might be eyeing an axe upgrade in the near future. We'll see.
Level 12 crafting. 5 XP at a time. This is ridiculously slow, but happy to see those levels come in. 33 fishing. 1 more. Still no sign of a rusty sword for that diary task, but we're getting there. Can almost use my angler gear. I'm so not used to activities with scaling XP, so when I see that most of these runs are somewhere in the ballpark of 500 XP, my brain starts doing math around that as the average XP, and I don't think it's gonna be that low, but if it was, man, that would be so bad. Hey, there we go. The rusty sword. Very nice. That is what we need for this diary task, so let's go knock it off.
Hello. Let's go knock that off really quick. You know, play the diary clip. The clip where we do the diary task. Can you play the clip, please? Where is this clip? I need this. Give me the... Okay, I have no idea what just happened, but as you can see, I did the diary task in the chat, and we got an iron longsword. Woohoo! Okay, well, yeah, that is a chunk task complete.
So before I'm done here, there is one more thing I want to try, which is the swamp paste method.
Like I already mentioned, this stuff is really expensive from the shop.
Every game should cost me about 3K, which just is quite a lot. That's only 300 games or so, and I'm definitely going to be playing more than 300 games. But I want to take a look and see what kind of points I can get here using this swamp paste. All right, there are max points. This should theoretically double the amount of fish I get, so we'll see how that changes the XP. I don't think it'll be worth it at these low levels when the XP I'm getting is very low, but I just wanted to see how viable it was, and it was pretty chill. Just basically spam clicking, fill these leaks, and yep, it took about 51 swamp paste to do the whole thing. All right, let's see this max contribution points haul. What does it look like? What does it look like? What's the XP like? Wow, it is like not that much better. All right, let's revisit this once I get a few more fishing levels. Speaking of which, there it is, 34 fishing. We can now wear those angler pieces. Let's get those on. And as soon as I get the level for it, there is the angler top. Very nice. Put that right on. Look at me. Oh, beautiful. Just need the legs now, and that'll be another chunk task complete. You guys aren't gonna believe this, but I'm about to get 15 crafting. Look at that. It's hard to believe. And this pull should be a very, very important pull. Let's just quickly break down what we got here. These oysters are worth about 50 XP each, and these anchovies and sardines are worth 1 and 3 each. So basically no XP from those. But now that my fishing level is 35, I can catch tuna from this, and tuna is worth about 50 also. So my average XP is going to increase by a ton with this new level. Right away, that's what I'm talking about. 735 XP, much, much better than when I was getting before. To celebrate this milestone, let's do some more fun fishing trawler facts. There are so many quirks about this boat, so many oddities and issues, that it would be hard to try to mention all of them, but let's mention a few notable ones. Let's start with one that anyone who's ever played fishing trawler knows. The Kraken. It's impossible to click. Why is it so hard to click? More often than not, when the Kraken appears, you can click on it, but then it rips the net, which stops you from chopping it, and you have to click it again. But its click box is nowhere to be found, and everyone starts doing this little dance chasing the Kraken around trying to click it. This is honestly probably the most annoying issue with fishing trawler, having to hunt down the click box on the Kraken constantly. I really, really wish they would fix this. Some less problematic quirks are that there's actually multiple fishing trawler boats. This minigame comes from a time before instances were a thing, so there are literally just multiple boats in the world that you get teleported back and forth between depending on if there's water in the boat or not. Sometimes it's very easy to tell that you got teleported to the other boat, as it looks super weird and the screen even seems to get a bit darker overall. There's also an extra version of the boat that doesn't seem to be used for anything at all. It doesn't even have Murphy on it. Very strange. Lastly, as the resident net repairer, I've noticed that the net has a different texture on either side of it. The front looks like this, while the back looks like this? Just why? What is wrong with this minigame? Anyway, back to the game. You know what they say, it's better to troll with friends. So I hopped on Discord with some buddies. Guess what? I just got level 40 fishing. Shit, I just got 10 raw lobsters. That's actually massive.
These are the emotions of the chunk man. I'm learning a lot.
They really are.
Damn, like 10 lobsters from this 300-hour grind.
10 lobsters. Oh, there we go. The final piece of angler has been acquired. That's a chunk task complete. I do say so myself.
I think you're allowed to say so.
That was 54 trawlers.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We take those. I just got level 16 crafting, and I can cut red topaz. That's interesting. I wonder if there's one of those boxes that has red topaz in it in a 1 in 1,000 chance somewhere. And duplicate angler piece number 1, the angler top. And number 2, getting those pants. The fishing XP's coming along nicely. There's 45 fishing. Nobody saw this coming, but 18 crafting. 19 crafting. Duplicate boots. That's 3 duplicates so far. Yo, tick perfect getting on the boat. That was almost close. So I just got off a trawler, and as you can see, I just got over 1k fishing XP for the first time. I also got a lot of contribution points. I tried to max it out with the swamp paste, but I just barely missed it. But it still gave me a lot more fish and XP than I normally get. As you can see here, I got almost 800, and before that, most of the XP is in the 500 to 800 range. This is a lot higher, so I'm still trying to figure out just how the contribution points factor into how much XP I get and how many fish I get. And I might have just gotten really lucky there, but it feels like something was different there. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that as I keep playing. So one thing I've been paying attention to is the fact that once you cross over into the 50 contribution points range, you can see the bar went from red to yellow. So obviously that means
means that you went from you get no fish to you get some fish. But I also noticed that once you go from 50 to 100, it goes from yellow to green. So I wonder if there's actually yet another tier above 50 where you get more fish. I'm gonna try to pay attention and see if I can figure that out. And there you can see that contribution meter go up over 100 and go from yellow to green. So still very curious how the contribution works specifically. Okay, 19 fish, that's also quite good. Again, might be getting lucky here, but I do get the sense that getting over 100 is useful. For the record, I had kind of given up on getting above 50 because it seemed like it didn't actually impact the end results. And the way that the wiki is worded, it sounds like you need to get max contribution to get that boost in fish. But now I want to see if I stop right at 100, kind of where does that land me? That's what I'm curious about, because that green bar is making me suspicious that is another level of upgrade. And that is the huge level to get 20 crafting, all off preparing the trawler net. Look at that. We can now cut sapphires. There is about to be a massive amount of crafting coming into my future. Oh, that is huge. Love to see that. All right, I have maxed my contribution for the first time in quite a few trips. So I'm really excited to see how this changes things for the rewards. Time to see if this really seems like 50% more fish or not. Here we go, the max trawler. What do we get? What do we get? Wow, it really wasn't that much more. Huh. Very strange. Man, I still have a lot of learning to do on how this minigame works. What the hell? And there it is, the final duplicate. We now have 2 full sets of angler. Check out the bank. One in the bank and one on me right now. 2 full sets of angler. Think that sounds like probably torture for most average players, but for me, it's just the beginning. We're probably about 10 to 15 hours deep into the fishing trawler grind, so I think we've played enough at this point to update the Bodhi database. Here's what we had before playing trawler. First things first, I'm gonna tentatively cross off this whole bit about 50% more fish. There has to be some truth to it, as it came directly from a game update post in 2021, but it definitely doesn't mean what I thought it meant. There is no flat 50% increase in fish at maximum contribution. Instead, I'll keep paying attention to how contribution affects rewards in the future. I'm also tentatively adding my green bar theory. Why change from yellow to green at 100 points? My running theory is that there's actually an error going on here. That the game thinks 100 points is the maximum, as that kind of makes sense. 100% contribution, right? I'll be trying to understand if there's a notable difference between 100 contribution points and the actual max, which is 255. I'm gonna be here for a while, so I have plenty of time to conduct this kind of RuneScape science. Speaking of how long I've been here, let's do a little data visualization. I just finished that last catch with about 85,000 fishing XP. I need around 2.1 million fishing XP to reach the chunk task of 81 fishing. So, if each of these fish represent 1% of the grind, about 21,000 fishing XP, so far we have this many out of this many. Yeah, it's gonna be a long time. So far, we've completed half of our 8 tasks, though there's still a lot of work to be done as I haven't even touched mining or smithing yet. But before I end the episode, there's a clip from the stream I didn't show you. You see, 68 smithing may be a bit more out of reach than I originally thought, as I discovered a devastating issue with these smithing tasks. I could actually do the whole thing with mithril bars. Now that I think about it, I could do the whole thing with mithril bars. How many mithril bars would it take? Maybe that's a lot less bad, like 6,000 mithril bars. I mean, the thing is, like, mining 24,000 coal. I don't know. I guess that doesn't sound that long for me, which is kind of sad to say. Oh, there's only one coal. There's only one coal vein amongst all of this. Oh my god. What? That's so bad, dude. What? Oh, also, is the coal even in the chunk? I need to go look. I remember seeing that there was like something that was the coal. I don't even have the coal. Wait a minute. I don't even have coal. Oh, it's from the dwarves. Bruh. This just keeps getting worse and worse. This is insane. This is actually insane. Since these clips, I've done the math to figure out how I could actually train smithing to 68. My best option would be superheating iron ore, but therein lies the problem. Superheat. Each cast requires 4 fire runes and 1 nature rune. Now, if I had access to a furnace, this grind would be long, but ultimately achievable. But only using superheat, I would need to farm over 50,000 fire runes as drops from wizards, since I can't actually use the rune store in Yanille, since for whatever reason it's locked behind a quest.
Because of the slow rate of gathering runes, doing this is between 500 to 1000 smithing XP per hour, and I'd need over 500,000 XP to reach level 68. That would add over 500 hours of killing wizards to this chunk, which is already looking to be a 500-hour grind without smithing. This is an issue that comes up every now and then in the one chunk world, a high-level goal with a ridiculously slow training method. They've come to be known as meme grinds, but in reality, it's usually the training method that's a meme. When faced with a highly problematic training method in a broken skill like smithing, most chunk accounts would simply backlog the task. And we've seen top creators do just that. Honestly, looking back, I probably should have backlogged the smithing grind from 2 episodes ago. Smelting steel off a rare coal drop doesn't fit the 1 in 16 drop rate threshold for training that's been adopted by other extreme chunk accounts like Canifus Chunk. But, well, I wanted to challenge myself. I enjoyed that grind. I felt like I was genuinely overcoming a massive obstacle at about 500 XP per hour. But that's when my goal was only level 49, and it took nearly 200 hours to complete. And the truth is, any training method that's less than 1000 XP per hour is a meme method, and any high-level task turns it into a meme grind. But I've come up with a plan to combat this. Rather than quietly backlogging the task and walking away, I wanted to make a difference for our one chunk community. So I worked with Source Chunk, who created the Chunk Picker, the backbone of this game mode, to come up with a solution to this issue. Allow me to introduce you to the Meme Grind Limiter. Instead of backlogging meme grinds, this new tool can set a maximum level for tasks where your XP per hour is abysmally low, allowing chunkers to create new goals to challenge themselves. My hope is that we as a community can come together to create some mutually agreed upon levels that we feel are a good challenge without being account ending. As the first user of this tool, I propose that level 50 is a good goal when XP per hour is less than 1000. Level 50 is about 100,000 XP, so this would take at least 100 hours. A solid challenge. I would love to see the community adopt this and apply it to other thresholds. For example, raking weeds is less than 100 XP per hour. Should there be a limit there? Keep in mind, this should only really be used when your training method is very slow, and even then, it's up to you to decide if you want to apply a limit. Use it to create a challenge, not opt out of content. I look forward to seeing what we as a community can do with this new tool, and a massive thank you to Source Chunk for working with me to create this. So, using the meme grind limiter, I'll be limiting my smithing tasks to level 50 until I get a better training method, most likely a furnace. With that, our new list of chunk tasks looks like this. We're adding 50 smithing to smelt a mithril bar. I'll keep the level 59 fletching grind on here for now, even though I won't be making the mithril grapple, just so I can have that level ready for the future. After 200 hours of nothing but superheat, I'll be glad to never superheat another ore in my life. Even with the smithing cut down, this chunk is going to be a huge challenge. Trawler is genuinely so tedious and frustrating to play, and I've got thousands of games ahead of me. Well, unless there's a way to speed it up. No, there couldn't be. Unless. Well, you'll just have to subscribe to find out. I promise you won't want to miss the next episode. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.